Mr. Ginsburg, Joy Reid here. I think the last time that most Americans even thought about January 6th before 2021 was the bring the glory out, get the glory out speech by Al Gore after the 2000 election, which was wrenching in its time. We thought that was sort of the peak kind of controversy over the conduct of an election. Just having been at this game for a long time and seeing how Donald Trump weaponized January 6th, turned it into an infamy and a memorable date that we will never forget for the worst of reasons, took the ceremonial piece out of it and literally turned it into a war. Do you have a perspective on what ought to happen to take that weaponry away? Do you think that there should be significant changes to the Electoral Count Act? Should we, radically change the Electoral College? I'm fascinated by what your perspective would be on what we could do to sort of take the weapons away, that a future president couldn't do this again.
Well, certainly changing the Electoral Count Act is, I think, important to modernize it, to make it clear, to make it clear that what Donald Trump was suggesting was just not part of the law, but to take a law that was written in the 1880s and to modernize it. I think that's important. But I think the second and more difficult but profound solution is one that the January 6th committee may get at and why it's so important. And that's to describe what going outside of the norms of the American democracy is by demonstrating what Donald Trump did. And hopefully by creating that clear a record that does properly channel what is acceptable to the democracy and what all candidates need to do is a really, really important part of that. I mean, Donald Trump, you go back through American history, and what Donald Trump did in not accepting the verdict of the courts, and that was by judges appointed by his administration too, but by not accepting the judgment of the courts and stopping and observing the deadlines and observing the democracy itself is what's really bad. John Adams in 1800, controlling all the levers of the power, but knowing that he lost to Thomas Jefferson and had to concede. Abraham Lincoln in 1884, in that letter that the committee displayed in its first hearing. What Al Gore did in 2000 and what Richard Nixon did in 1960 are all examples of presidents who lost really narrow races, who contested those elections within the bounds that they were allowed, and then recognized the decision, because that's the way the democracy needs to work.
Ben Ginsburg, Republican election lawyer par excellence, witness today before the January 6th public hearing. Sir, thank you so much for testifying, for your public service of this kind. And thanks for talking to us tonight, Ben.
Thanks for letting me be with you.
I will tell you that one of the things that Ben Ginsburg deserves more credit for than he gets is his decision to pair with sort of a Democratic lawyer who's kind of his equivalent on the Democratic side to form the Election Official Legal Defense Network, to get big law firms, which guys like Ben are really influential with, to get big law firms around the country to pledge high-level, really good pro bono, free legal defense for any election official anywhere in the country who is hounded, harassed, or threatened because of their work, because of what Trump has done to politicize his followers against election officials.